All right. Well, welcome once again to the Independent Black Voice. I'm your host, beatzillapdxofficial, and today we have some things to talk about. Namely, does Jasmine Crockett and Yvette Clark have an anti-FBA policy? Starting to sound like that. And this is one of those situations to where having these people who are not tied to our lineage speaking on our behalf becomes a problem. And to this regard, we have people coming out blatantly speaking out against us, which in this case, both Yvette Clark and Jasmine Crockett, as well as other members of the Congressional Black Caucus, have referred to America as a land of immigrants, or country of immigrants, or country built by immigrants, which it wasn't. It's a country built by free labor from slaves. And so they keep trying to use this weird talking point of immigrants who came here beyond or outside of their will, against their will, in chains. Those are not immigrants, because there was no country to immigrate to. You bring these people here and they are native to the country that was founded. You don't say a person that immigrated to a country after its founding is the same as a person who was here building it. But yet and still they do. They get in these places and speak for us on our behalf while so-called representing Black. But they are clearly presenting an anti-foundational Black American freedmen agenda. In this case, we have seen some footage that has resurfaced. I believe Brother Tariq Nasheed even posted this a few years back. It's resurfacing again from Yvette Clark. And I've been on Yvette Clark's top 2. And this is before that we even had an idea that she was going to become the head person of the Congressional Black Caucus. Now that she is, she was already co-chair of the Caribbean Caucus. So her agenda of putting all the attention and our designated energies, which should be coming to us, subverting us to focus on getting resources for the Caribbean. Not just putting them first or talking them up, but now that we have a real talk about birthright citizenship, understand what you see about the fight against it. And so these are people who say they represent Black folks, but their position is about immigration. And that doesn't have anything to do with foundational Black Americans. Nothing whatsoever, other than it being more of a detriment. It's not a plus. But with that being said, let me first play Yvette Clark.
The United States is a nation of immigrants. And while some were captured and bought in shackles and enslaved in this nation earlier on and did not come of their own volition, this nation ultimately is a nation that has been repopulated over time by people who have come from around the world. That should be the basis from which all conversations about the future of this nation is conducted. Because when we get to the point in our country where some folks take ownership of it and others don't, we find ourselves in a bad place, a place where we have a person in the office who can marginalize, who can divide, who can conquer, and who can subordinate others within the nation. So I wanted to set that as a platform.
By using foundational Black America's platform to then undermine that very same platform is pretty evil. It's very despicable behavior, and should be called out, which it is, and it has been by the grassroots, by new Black media. Unfortunately, so many Black Democrats have supported this notion We also have a lot of Pan-Africanists that support this notion. And we also have a lot of New Yorkers that support this notion. Why? Because they're in melting pots. And they often use this line to get over on the fact that they are benefiting from foundational Black Americans' work and lives and deaths to be here and to be a so-called success in America. They're abusing that. And so here is another descendant of immigrants, Yvette Clarke, who is, of course, back in a position that she should not be in as being chair of the Congressional Black Caucus when she's a Caribbean, not a foundational Black American. She has zero tie to the soil. Now, people would say, well, she's from New York. That's another problem with New York. See, people don't know how to keep things in one lane out there. And that's, that's why you got a lot of people that are not Black running around calling each other the N-word and think that they can leave out of New York and come do that with us because people have co-signed it out there. Like the New York dictates Black America. It does not. And other people had to learn the hard way. I mean, look at Fat Joe. Fat Joe out here floundering. Let me go get Jadakiss to come bail me out. Try to give me some more relevancy because I thought me being Puerto Rican would be talking crazy while being a guest in the culture of foundational Black Americans. So much so it's our time. Fat Joe, you ain't got no time. Go do the merengue. Go salsa, which still has heavy ties here even still. So, I mean, come on, bruh. To come at us and being disrespectful time is a wrap. So there's that. But anyway, back to these tethers, such as Yvette Clarke and a suspected tether in Jasmine Crockett. And I say suspected tether. Now, she went out there and started talking again. She says exact same things. So if she's not a tether, why is she on the exact same agenda and same talking points as Yvette Clarke? Because she has people that are non-found or non-immigrant that she should be looking out for. If she's supposedly a foundational Black American, doesn't she know that? And doesn't she know that America was built by slaves, not by immigrants? And again, Yvette Clarke is lying when she says that because there was no America when slaves were brought here or people here were enslaved and put on plantations. These things were built. That's not an immigrant. That's a slave. And to say slavery in this country, that's not an immigrant. And that's an insult. Because for these people who are actually tied to chattel slavery, I feel that as an insult. My ancestors' blood and bodies are in these grounds. And think about these plantations that, especially the last one that just burnt down. That is a blessing for the souls of the deleted murder victims that have been on that. Because remember, anybody who died as property was a murder victim. You robbed them of everything. And see, that's another thing that a lot of people don't understand about reparations. That is a harm that nobody else has incurred. So why, if no one else has incurred that, they are not equipped to speak on our behalf or against our claim. They have no position. We've often allowed them to have too much time in our reparations conversations when they don't belong there. The government owes reparations to foundational Black American freedmen, period. Now, with that being said, for all you Jasmine Crockett lovers, I'm going to need you to explain something to me. Number one, why has her family history scrubbed off the internet? Why can't we find where her people are from? And then on top of that, why does she consistently keep promoting immigrants?
Is trying to work with the IRS, because we actually take in billions of dollars because of immigrants in this country, and now they're going to try to get them out. And I'm going to tell you that the biggest issue that we have, I really don't think this should be a partisan issue, so I'm going to agree with my Republican colleagues. I think that we all should want to be safe in our communities. The problem that we have is that we have an income.
You know, and when she says stuff like that, it just makes me wonder again how they say she's born here. So what was she doing that she has missed so much about urban history that she gets up here and she starts talking as if she has lived in another country in the 80s and early 90s? Ma'am, do you understand that immigrants coming into America was a thing in the 80s? It might be a movie you might recall, and TV shows that maybe you heard of in the 80s. One show would be called, which is literally on Prime, Miami Vice. Guess what they were dealing with? A lot of South American blow. That has been an issue in America for years. So when you allow these people to come here from South America willy-nilly, we already have seen this before by way of saying, hey, we're going back to the movie Scarface, which these movies are depictions of things that were legitimately happening on the street. Maybe you heard of Studio 54. There was powder coming in here by the boatloads, and the government made plenty of money. Guess what? You got a show called Snowfall that loosely goes over the life of Freeway Rick. You have another show called BMF. All of this has to do, all of these different shows has to do with the money the United States government made off of said trade. Oh, while also targeting the Black community for its own destruction by way of the powder and the money that they were using, and then sending guns over to foreign nationals to help them fight their wars, and using the money made in the hood to fund it. Maybe you haven't heard that story before, Jasmine Crockett. I don't know, because you're just out here saying things that I gotta wonder. Were you around in America in the 80s or 90s? Because these are things like right now they're doing shows about, and you seem to be oblivious. But just for reference, push it to the limit, the limit. Walk across the razor's edge. Come on, y'all. We've seen all of this before, but I guess she never saw Scarface.
I really don't think this should be a partisan issue, so I'm going to agree with my Republican colleagues. I think that we all should want to be safe in our communities. The problem that we have is that we have an incompetent administration, that everything that they touch turns to shit. Because what they do is they take a wide sweeping brush, and they have decided that the enemy is now going to be immigrants instead of taking a scalpel.
No. See, and this is where it's very dishonest. Okay, number one, on day one, Jasmine Crockett, remember what they did? It was sweeping immigration reform to allow these people to flood in here. It was not a problem before day one of Joe Biden's administration, to which now we're finding out that Joe Biden has an aggressive form of stage 4 cancer that's already metastasized in his bones. That means that he just didn't wake up yesterday and had a bad diagnosis. We've been getting lied to for quite some time now from this Democratic establishment, from the top to the bottom, and their media, but that's going to be in another video. However, I just wanted to focus on these two because now she's making this weird excuse that, man, they're making these sweeping and making illegals the target. These people coming in here illegally was the problem in the first place. And none of you, including you, Miss Jasmine Crockett, said a word about those Haitians being rounded up, put into camps, and promptly deported by your president, Joe Biden.
That's all we're asking, is to be exact in what you're doing instead of taking a sledgehammer to everything. Thank you, and I will yield.
Since the Democrats do not
taking a sledgehammer to everything that was done just 4 years ago that has sent this country into such an issue that the Democrats and all of your policies have been voted against by America. I think these people are delusional. Now, here's Wesley Hunt, Texas Republican, conservative, but he can also tell you that he is a descendant of American chattel slavery. You never hear Jasmine Crockett actually say that. Never heard it. Not once have you heard it. Not once have you heard it. So let's not get out here. She's FBA. Let her claim it. Don't lie to us for it. Let her say it. And then let her prove it. Like this brother did.
like the result of the election, you would think that they will be focusing on the midterms coming up, but instead they are engaging in a judicial coup d'etat. The reason they are not focused on the midterms is because they are not confident that they could take back control of the House of Representatives in 2 years because they have no leader and they have no valid message. The Democrat Party has a 21% approval rating with voters in this country. And why? Ooh. Because their only message is Trump is bad. They've gone so far as to attack people for driving electric vehicles. They openly admit that they are DEI hires, and they claim that the reason they're not popular with voters right now is because they are not opposing Trump enough. That's the reaction to their failure. Their solution is to become more extreme and more unpopular with their policies. This question must be asked: does the Democrat Party hate President Trump more than they love our country and more than they love the safety of my fellow Americans? This might explain why they are willing to overtly defend members of Trinidad MS-13 rather than stand up and clap for a child with a terminal brain cancer illness, or for a young man admitted to West Point, my alma mater, or for a family of a gentleman who was murdered in Butler, Pennsylvania. Trump derangement syndrome is real. It's a real thing.
Yes, it is.
And sanctuary policies are harming my fellow Americans, as my witnesses have testified here today.
Yes.
This U.S. congressman is tired of seeing mothers, daughters, and wives of Americans raped, maimed, and murdered by Trinidad and MS-13 and other violent criminals that have snuck across the border to destroy this great nation.
And my thing also about this is how, like, Jasmine Crockett and others often try to use the weak sauce excuse as now they're the target, and all of a sudden illegal immigration has been an issue in this country for the longest, going back to Obama's presidency. It's not new. Trump has been the most effective. And the wall is started by Obama. That's Obama's wall. The kids in cages were Obama's kids in cages. It only became a problem when Donald Trump jumped on the same policies. Literally, some of the things right now that the Democrats are against are the policies that they first created. But because Trump can utilize it and forward it for his own agenda, then they talk against it. That's Trump derangement syndrome at its finest. And here's the reality of it. None of it has anything to do with serving the American people at all. All we're talking about is people who don't belong in this country. There's plenty of people who came here legally. This is still not a country of immigrants. That doesn't make it a country of immigrants. You don't go anywhere else and say the people who established this country aren't the people who established the country. It's us because we're all here now. You have to have a foundation to come to. You had to have, you didn't immigrate from space. You immigrated from your land, your homeland, which was not popping. These folks here made it pop. And that requires foundational Black American freedmen. And it is appalling that another melanated individual would look at foundational Black Americans with such disdain, because to try to erase the history and the importance of foundational Black Americans' place in this country's history, present and future, is very telling of hatred against foundational Black Americans. How am I missing it? Somebody want to help me? Let me know. But again, when they talk about we better start asking some questions about who they mean. Because, you know, there's a bunch of these Democrat shills out here that are so used to going along with what these people say. Well, I need this explained. How do we talk around foundational Black Americans? And then also Yvette Clarke, being the head and chairperson of the Congressional Black Caucus, doesn't know that the slaves that built this country are not immigrants? White people know that. So I don't want anybody who doesn't understand even our status in this country, which is tied to the 14th Amendment. See, everybody can all of a sudden start getting their citizenship status correct when it comes down to that 14th Amendment, which is established based off of non-immigrants. Do you realize that the 14th Amendment is literally established for non-immigrants? To be a melanated immigrant doing that against foundational Black American freedmen is pure evil. Jasmine Crockett and Yvette Clarke, both of you two are willfully choosing up against foundational Black Americans. And so, Jasmine Crockett,
where's your family from?
For your agenda of who all you're trying to save, from the independent Black voice to you, and the people that are still not your constituents, because we are. We say, hashtag, fire up the day.
Happy birthday, we're celebrating you today. Like Dr. King holiday, we ain't gonna do any work today. Happy birthday today, it's your beautiful day. And we gonna party all day, like it's a freaking holiday.
Yes, indeed. Remember why they were upset,
It's a
family.
cultural divide. I'm gonna get it on the flow.
You really about to do it?
40 acres in the mule. This is bigger than the music.
Hashtag hands off our reparations.
You have no rights here. We're not under the empire.
Family, let me know what y'all think about this video in the comments, or you know, if you are watching the replay gang, or if you're watching the premiere, let me know. Go ahead and hit that comment section. Let me know what you guys are thinking about with this particular topic. I believe that these people, these women, are anti-foundational Black American, and they have no positive intentions for the people. That's my belief on it. And I would hope that everybody else understands and sees what I see. I'm sure a lot of you do. So follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at beatzillapdx. You can email me at outrealtruth@gmail.com. And of course, if you want to put some money in the buckets, you can definitely do so by way of Cash App or PayPal. Those links will be in the description. So without further ado, we're going to get on out of here. Until next time, family. Let me get back on the screen. Y'all stay vigilant. Y'all stay black, stay vigilant, stay alive. Black first, black first, black first. Shalom, y'all. Peace.
We got this house, we don't get like. It's time to be on them. It's the noise, baby. Oh, it's the noise, baby.